This is Costa Rica. At least, this is the Costa Rica that I can show you on my camera, that I experienced. I'm taking a class called Narratives of Costa Rica. I'm not here for the beautiful beaches or the fascinating rainforest. I'm not even here for the cheap dental care. I'm here for the 3 credits towards my degree.
Hi, I'm Marie, and I'm a 4th-year communications student at York University, and we're here at York's Eco Campus in Costa Rica!
Here I am, sitting in class. We're discussing the tourist gaze. It's the 8th day on campus, and our homework was to read A Small Place by Jamaica Kincaid. Each one of my classmates talks about a part of their reading that they identify with. For most of us, it's our first time in Costa Rica, but it's my second time in Central America. In high school, I went to Nicaragua on a volunteer trip. We built a playground for a poor community. I felt at that time that I was doing so much good. But even then, I had been a tourist. I remember that trip being one of the most exciting trips in my life, up until that point. But that was 5 years ago. Since then, I started my international bachelor's and took my degree global. I had been a tourist many times, so I could have highlighted the entire reading. But I shared this. One day, when you're sitting there, alone in the crowd, and that awful feeling of displacedness comes over you. Because being ordinary is already so taxing, and being ordinary takes all you have out of you. And though the words, "I must get away," do not actually cross your lips, you take a leap from being that nice blob to being a person laying on a faraway beach. She may as well have been describing me. And I was guilty of it, feeling that my life in Canada had all just become tiring. That going somewhere else would be relaxing, even if it was for school.
Okay, Rianne, where are we going?
Costa Rica!
Woo! Yeah!
And as I sat in class, I thought about how we came here willingly to learn about Costa Rica, to learn about the dominant narratives of this country, how a bunch of Canadian students ended up in this hut, one that's fashioned like the homes of Indigenous people of Costa Rica, next to a York University building that was nicer than the homes of the people we were staying with. How could we avoid the tourist gaze when we had classes by a waterfall? We visited coffee farms and we were going to the beach the next day. Then I realized that was the point. We couldn't avoid it. And when we went to the beach the next day, I did notice it.
Okay, so one really interesting thing that I've noticed is that there's just a significant raise in the amount of tourists in this area. Like, we've been in the village this whole time, so we haven't really seen too many other tourists, but in the beach everyone seems to be a tourist. So I just found that a really interesting thing.
So while I knew I was being a tourist, and I didn't quite enjoy the feeling, I reminded myself that I was very lucky to have this opportunity, just like we had read in the class the day before.
Wow, fly over!
For every native of every place is a potential tourist, and every tourist is a native of somewhere. But some natives, most natives in the world, cannot go anywhere. They are too poor. They are too poor to go anywhere. They are too poor to escape the reality of their lives. So while I could not escape my discomfort in being a tourist, I took what I learned and decided that if I was going to be a tourist, that I was going to educate myself about the place I was visiting.
See you tomorrow, guys. See you tomorrow.
So we've been in Costa Rica for about a week now. We got here on Sunday last week and it's Sunday again, so we've gone through a whole week of activities which are super awesome. And today, actually, one of the things we were discussing is about the tourist gaze and, you know, how it looks like when you as a tourist come to a different country. What do you see? What are the things that you know, locals will actually think about you? So that was really interesting, especially since I am here as a tourist, obviously, and it kind of made me think of just kind of why I become a tourist and why I'm here. So it really made me reflect over the past week that we've been here in Costa Rica and what we've seen and kind of the things that I've felt, especially because I've never been to Costa Rica before. This is my first time, and I came in with kind of a perception of it being a really cool, biodiverse, and just really interesting country, and it totally is, but there's so much more to that, and there are stories of people who we've met that, you know, kind of show a different side, that it's not just all pura vida, which is one of the phrases that they have about Costa Rica, which just shows that it's more than just what you see on the outside.
And I know that by the end of this trip, we had all learned something more about Costa Rica, something we couldn't have learned from a textbook.
The actual impact that major narratives, like big narratives, have on the small narratives that we don't get to see. So such as like dip and deco, like we always see in the grocery stores, like pineapple juice, whatever other products they have, fresh fruits, whatnot, organic stuff. Even though now we've learned that that might not actually be the case when you look at the actual source of where it comes from. So learning all kinds of things.
I had no idea about the Indigenous communities here and the struggles that they went through. I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know, it was just something that like didn't occur to me. And so to learn about that and to learn about the people whose, you know, lifestyles, even living here, don't align with like this like dominant narrative of pura vida. That was really like eye-opening to me because I was under this impression that like, you know, it's the whole country, everyone's included, everyone's happy, everyone's this, but that's really not the case.
Also spending time with the homestay family, because then you kind of get an in-depth understanding of the way they live life here, and the way I viewed the way people live life in South America is way different than they actually do mentally, where I thought maybe I had so much stuff, you know, in America, you know, like the houses and the cars and like, you know, the shopping malls, whereas here, even though they do not have that stuff, they still enjoy, you know, prefer being here in Costa Rica. And something that I got a lot from like the mother of the house I'm staying with and the daughter is over here they have freedom, which is something they didn't have over there.
So even with my tourist eyes, I wanted to remember Costa Rica for being more than my expectations, and for all the experiences I did have.
So we are at our homestay and we found a bug. Actually, Rianne found a bug, right? Yeah. It's a huge cockroach. This thing was on, I can't wait to show my mother this. This thing was on my bed. Wanted to share my company. Oh my god, look at it.
The knowledge I gained about Costa Rica is something that I can take back and apply to my life back home. I'm returning with an understanding that Costa Rica is just like any other place in the world. There are beautiful parts, and there are really sad parts.
Hey everyone, say pura vida! Pura vida!
I leave knowing that I don't just want to travel and ignore parts of a cultural narrative. It's too easy to do that. To go and experience one reality. But even with this video, the truth is you're only hearing my voice, which can never really be the full story. But at least you know that you have the choice. That if you decide to be a tourist, and there's nothing wrong with that, it will be worth your while to look past the slogans and past the billboards and really see the country that you're visiting. So while you who are watching might not end up taking a class in cultural narratives, we can all learn something about a place that we don't call home. Because it's someone else's home, and they have a story to tell. A special thanks to all my classmates for taking part in this video. I also want to personally thank the sponsors of Glennon College. Through your support, I was able to fund this trip and further my education.
Mark's driving us to the Ica campus. It's gonna take us 4 hours to get there. How's it taste, guys?
Very good.
Lisa, ¿Alba, lo vas a subir?
Definitely regret not going up,
No, go up.
right?
Look at this girl. Is it Baywatch? Or is it just Bay? Gary, ready? What's your favorite part about being in Costa Rica?
I love food. Pinto's way.
Okay, give me a little bit more. Well,
Éclaté et puis j'aimerais savoir beaucoup comment est-ce qu'il a fait de construire cette maison lui-même, pendant combien de temps et quelles sont les motivations qui l'ont poussé de le construire.
it's rained every day since we've been here, and right now we're just grabbing some bread at this little bakery. And this is really cool.
Ironing board? Ironing board, yeah. That sounds
I almost feel guilty that I can have this, you know, luxury.